Hello everybody. Okay, welcome back to part 2. So I've added in the drinks machine in the corner there. Okay, and I've put the coffee machine there. So now I want to start making the food to go on the shelves. Alright, so I've got some more printables for KFC. The red didn't come out very well, but nonetheless, can always go over it with a marker. So I'm going to make up this box. I've got a couple of others, so I'm going to make up some boxes, and then I might make a bucket. Don't forget, we've still got to add this fourth side on because it's going to have a acetate roof so you can still see inside, and I might make a hole in the acetate roof for a Limax light to go through. Okay, so it can be lit up. Right, so let me cut out some of these boxes, make those up, and then add those to that gap, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so for the burgers, there we go. I'm just using these little pebbles here that are flat on one side and concave on the other. Just cut them out the stash. Don't think it's worth using clay because you're not going to really see what's inside. Just cover them in foil. And then I've got the nail embellishments out, and I'm using the KFC ones with the little head on. Hoping you can see that. And I'm just sticking those on the fronts. Right, so I've made some clay food. Here we go. So we've got some lettuce here, some chips, some chicken and some cheese. This here is going to be a burger. All I've done is just go over it with the All-in-One by Spellbinders there, just to give it some texture. And I'm going to make this into a chicken burger. Let's just go around the edging and pull it apart a little bit with a pokey. So I've just gone around the edging just to give it some more texture. And of course it's going to be painted after it's baked. And then we'll be adding cheese, lettuce and chicken to it. Okay, now these little chickens are going to be painted obviously after baking, but all I've done is take some yellow Fimo. Let me just find a little bit. Just worked it. This yellow does look a little bit grubby, it has to be said, because I've worked it on the board and it's picked up dirt from the board. And then just kind of scratch some bits off it to make a piece of chicken with some texture. Okay, now obviously you can make them as big as you like. It depends on what size your area is to fill with chicken. But I'm going to use that size. I've also cut out a colonel's head to put inside here on the floor. Okay, I've added a cup with some straws. The 3 burgers are in the bottom there, and a plate here for the burger that I'm going to bake out of clay. I've also done a tray of donuts, which I'm going to put on the countertop. That's just four donuts that I've got in the stash that you've seen me make before. Just added them to a tray. Right, and then finally the chip bags. Here we go. This is a chip bag. So once they're baked, they're going to go in there. All right, now all I've done is cut a piece of parchment, wax paper, tracing paper, whatever you've got. Just made it into a little strip, folded it over, and then glued the sides here to make it into a little bag. Okay, that one's come apart, so I'll have to re-glue it, but there's 3 of those and they're going to go on the shelf. And then I've cut out some of these tiny Kentucky, don't know if you can see that, embellishments that came on these 2 sheets of nail embellishments. And they were from eBay, so you can find them all over the place if you look. Printables, eBay, Amazon, nail embellishments, all sorts of bits and pieces to do the restaurant with. All right, so these are going to go in the oven for baking, and then once they're out, we can paint them or add some colour to them, finish the burger, and add the rest of the food to the restaurant. All right, okay, right, everything's baked and it's back, so I'm going to start adding colour to them. Here's the chips. So I want to kind of make them a golden brown colour. Okay, so we'll start with those. So I've got a pack of soft pastels here by Daler and Rowney. And I've got like a golden brown here. It's broken, but it obviously came broken. So I'm just going to scrape some colour onto this board here. And then cover the chips in it. Now, you know, you can make them as dark as you want, as light as you want, it's up to you. And then these can go in the chip bags and then into the restaurant. Now I'm going to be doing a diner and a McDonald's. Obviously they're long projects, so in between I'm hopefully going to be doing some other little ones. And again, we're going to use this colour for the burger. I might go over these a couple of times. Let's add some to the burger. Although I think I'm gonna need to paint this, because as you can see I used a pink, so I didn't have any brown. I don't know, it's actually taking quite well. If you use a lighter colour for the burger and then add your dust into it, it will probably come out a lot better. Let's try a little bit of dark brown on here. Yeah, I might need to paint it a little bit. But the chips are fine. Just gonna drag them across what's left of that golden colour. And then they can go in the bags. Now I'm going to try and hot glue them in, because obviously once they're inside, I don't want them moving. Okay. So that's the chips done. Now the cheese is going to stay yellow. Missed a chip there. I've got to add some green to the lettuce. I think it could do to be a bit darker. The cheese needs to be yellow. Let's just add some of this gold to it, or light brown, whatever you want to call it. Bottom of that's not going to be seen, so that's fine. And then for the mayonnaise in between, I'm going to use painter's cork. You've seen me use that plenty of times. It's an excellent product for crafting. So just a little smidgen of that in the middle. So let me see what I want to do. I want to paint the chicken. Let's just put the chips to one side. I'll tell you what, we'll use Malibu acrylic colour, which is a really nice brown. So let's get them onto there. Hot glue is on, so we can start adding the chips to the bags in a minute. Right, that lettuce has got to dry. So let's use some Malibu. It's quite dark looking at it now, but needs to be brown. Right, let's get the chips in the bag. Oh, I could do to just paint that burger. Let's get the chips in the bags. So tiny, tiny space to work with. And you know, you don't have to use all the chips. But let's see how we go. Okay, chips are done and they're in on the top shelf there. Okay, so we're gonna continue with the food. And of course, once the chicken's dry, which is there, and it does dry a lot lighter than it looks. Once the chicken's dry, that can go in and the burger can be made. Now on the floor, I'm going to put a picture of the Colonel, and I'm going to put some tape over him so he looks like he's laminated, because there is a mark on the floor there that I need to cover up. So I'm just going to laminate him with sellotape. And just trim off any white that didn't get covered. Okay, and he's going to be stuck on the floor there to cover that mark up. Don't know what it is. Let's just put him down now. And then for the top here, and I made a computer screen and a keypad as well. Just got some printables, stuck it onto a piece of black card. Done the same with the computer. That's just 3 pieces of card stuck together, and then put a menu on the front. And then if you need to touch up any black, you can just go around with a Sharpie just to fill in any card marks, any card showing. And then you've got a computer to go on the desk. Okay, so that's going to go there like that. And of course the tray of donuts have got to sit on the side as well, so I'll kind of maneuver them to fit on there. And I've been preparing the acetate. Now with the acetate, I've bent it in half. So I was going to do the front panel, if you remember, but then I thought if I use acetate so it goes over it like that, it's got to be trimmed down. You can see straight in the storefront now, and we won't use the dark panel. And then with 2 Limax lights outside, it will light up the shop. Okay, so I thought that might be a better idea. And of course with the edges of the acetate, I'm going to do my famous trick that I've been doing the whole time with these particular projects. I'm going to cover all the edges with some Snow-Tex so you can't see any of the edges, and that'll be fine then. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with the acetate. So that's already prepared. It just needs wiping down and trimming. You've got to make sure there's no dust inside that acetate because it's going to show up inside the shop. All right, so we're up to speed so far. I've got to wait for all this food to dry, and then we can finish off making the food, and then I can add it to the back shelves here and then fill up the counter. The burgers are going on that dish there, which I got out of my stash. There's just some kitchen bits and pieces, serving dishes, jugs, that sort of thing. And then the acetate can go on and it's all finished. Okay, so once that's dry, we can proceed. Right, here we are back with the burger. I've added the lettuce and the cheese. I'm going to use some caulking for mayonnaise. And I've been over a few times with the gold colour stick again. And I'm probably going to do that with the chicken to lighten it up a little bit. So let's get a little bit of caulking on here. Right, got some caulking out, made a bit of a mess. This is going to be the mayonnaise. So I'm going to put that on with the pokey. And of course, I haven't got enough lettuce to go all the way around, so I'm just gonna put it at the front. And then I'm gonna stick the chicken on top of there. Like that. And then add the bun to it. Okay, so let me get that done and positioned in the restaurant, and then we can move on. Okay, so if you head over to part 3 now, you'll see the final part of the video. Sorry it's in 3 parts, but it has taken a while to make and I didn't want to try and upload an hour's worth of video because it just won't work for me. Okay, so I'll see you in part 3. Bye!